Happy Saturday morning to everyone. Time for a little football here on Texas Football, brought to you by our friends over at Tito's Handmade Vodka. We'll talk a little bit more about them later. But first, we're going to talk about the Longhorns going up against Mississippi State at around 3:15, 3:10 this morning or this afternoon. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Gerry Hamilton, as well as lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Guys, this matchup, Longhorns favored 6.5, 7 points. Considering everything that's gone on in Austin, it's kind of surprising Texas favored by that much. Steve Sarkisian, Gerry, is promising a different style of offense, or at least a different game plan of offense. What do you foresee that meaning later today?
Yeah, so I'm going to want to say one thing to start. I would take the ball in this game, guys. I would take the ball and try to possess the ball on this first series and not give Mississippi State a long drive right out of the gate. So that's one thing from a thoughts process going into the game, unless the win's some major factor down on the field, right? I'm taking the football because I want to keep I don't want my defense to get into a long grinding drive right out of the gate, because like Mississippi State's going to try to do. But offensively, what do I think is going to happen? Look, I think it's going to be more get the ball out quick for Arch. I think there's going to be more of a hard-headedness in the run game. My target number, Rod, we hadn't been on a show this week together, but my target number is 125 yards rushing for Texas. Because if they are able to rush the ball for 125 today, then that means the chains are moving. That means they're racking up plays. That means the defense is not on the field for 80 snaps like they were last week on the road in Kentucky. I don't think that's a good formula against Mississippi State, who's good on offense. I think you're going to see a hard-headedness with the inside run game in this game and being willing to take 1 and 2 yard gains, because I think there's now, after last Saturday, if it wasn't evident before, it's evident now that possessing the football truly is the key for this Texas team this year. And getting to as many third and shorts and living in third and mediums is truly what you have to do with this team, because the worst thing you can do right now from an offensive standpoint at Texas is to put your defense on the field for 80 snaps. That's not going to be a winning formula against the offenses they have left on the schedule. I think you're going to see Texas work to possess the football, maybe even play a possession game. And if they can replicate in some form or fashion what they did against Oklahoma, it doesn't mean the run scheme is going to be the same. But if they can replicate that in some form or fashion, that's absolutely going to be the best way to play offense moving forward.
Hey, they also, if you take the ball first, their top linebacker would be out for the first half after being held out because of targeting. Maybe you get an extra possession there. Rod, what do you think about this Texas offense? You agree with Gerry that, and me, I think Texas is going to try to possess the ball more in this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the other games that Mississippi State has played against, Power 4 opponents, in the SEC games mostly, they were able to run the ball inside on Mississippi State. Mississippi State's secondary is actually pretty talented. They got 10 interceptions on the season. They're very opportunistic. They actually work well, in my opinion, in critical moments. I think their red zone defense actually is pretty good. Touchdown percentage wise, they're top 40. Look at their third down defense. They're top 30 third down defense. So they're actually a pretty good defense in those critical moments. I think because of the back end, the back seven, I think you can, if you're Texas, impose your will. And especially if Cedric Baxter is back, which he is expected to be back, of course, I think you can work some of the power gap schemes, the duo inside, the inside zone concepts, and that way control the ball, to Gerry's point, and just possess the ball. It ain't going to be pretty. I think Sark's going to strip away kind of some of the sexy elements of this offense that Longhorn fans love, but to make it be a little more complimentary for the defense and the special team, so you can win field position and leave your defense fresh and not exposed. I do think the offense is going to be, I guess, uglier is the best way to put it, because Longhorn fans probably won't like it. It'll be a little bit boring, I think, ultimately. They'll take a couple of shots here and there, but I think the goal is, hey, how long can we extend this drive? That's going to be the goal from now on. And yes, ultimately you want to end in points, but I think they want to extend drives, to Gerry's point, and just shorten these games now. This may end up being a really short game, by the way. So I think Mississippi State might also have the same goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say this. I mean, you said ugly. You not be ugly. I mean, can't get uglier than last week on offense. So maybe by simplifying it, you actually get a prettier version.
That's true.
All right, Rod, Texas defense. Without them, where is this Texas team right now? They're going to play a Mississippi State offense that hunts for the big play with big play receivers and former Longhorn Brennan Thompson, Converse Judson Starr, Anthony Evans, both big-time speedsters on the outside. Devon Booth expected to lead them in rushing. What are your thoughts on stopping this Mississippi State offense for Texas?
Yeah, I mean, if Bothwell and Booth, right, were available, it'd be, I think, much more problematic for Texas. But it's an offense that generally just wants to stress you in as many ways as possible. They do it with the wide splits. They're going to do it with, of course, we talk about all the time, the up tempo. Whenever they get, some momentum on offense, they're going to run that up tempo. That's going to stress the defensive line in terms of their conditioning up front, and it's also going to stress the secondary, the communication. I've talked about this. Your master communicator is out.
Yes.
Michael Tapp is the guy that usually makes a lot of the checks, make sure everybody's lined up. He's one of your erasers on the back end, erases those mistakes, covers up a lot of flaws on the back end. You're going to lose that guy, and you're going up against a team that likes to stress you out in the secondary. So I think Jeff Lebby understands that. So I wouldn't be surprised he throws out funky formations and some shifts and motions to force them to adjust, force them to communicate, and then speed things up. They're going to look for, try to basically get a coverage bust. They also going to stress you with the vertical shots down the field. You brought up Brennan Thompson. That dude is averaging 18 yards average depth of target. 18 yards. That's easily one of the top 10 highest numbers in the country. So just to give you a little bit of the, just the mentality that they operate by when they take shots downfield, they're going to be aggressive with it. And then they want to be able to pound you inside with the run game. Booth can do it. Bothwell can do it as well. If they don't have Bothwell, Booth also can do it. But I think, Blake Shapen as a guy's got some functional mobility. Won't stress you as much as a scrambler as a Cutter Bowley did, but he can extend plays and can keep plays alive. So this is a defense that will be stressed in a lot of different ways. And if they just can remain structurally sound, fundamentally sound, they'll be okay. They'll bend, but they won't break. But this is an offense that is built to force you to break in certain areas. And that's going to be the test for them, especially, I said, without Michael Tapp out, I think they'll make some plays, but what happens in the red zone, what happens on third down in those critical areas, that's going to be the key to the game.
I'm going to throw one name out. I'm going to throw one name out there. Seydou Traore, their tight end. He does not get much mention. That guy may play in the league. He is from London, England. He is very talented. He hasn't been targeted a ton this year, but he is really athletic. So I just want to throw that name out there too, to go with Rod's point, because they're going to be running those wideouts deep. And who are they? Who might they challenge with Traore in coverage?
Up the seam. And look, Ty Anthony Smith, the best linebacker in coverage, may not be playing that much because they're going to be run heavy attack. Good stuff and thought process there. All right. Let's just talk about overall. I think that we can all agree Texas special teams should be a real positive in this game compared to Mississippi State's. Texas has Mason Shipley right now. It's been money, anything inside 50 yards. Jack Bullmeister having a great year, and then obviously Ryan Niblett. But this game overall, in our predictions, we talked about these yesterday on Friday on our prediction show. I went 27-24 Texas. I expect a little more out of this Texas offense. I also think we could be seeing a defensive TD here because Blake Shapen has been known to give the ball away a little bit. Jerry, what do you think?
Yeah, I went 23-21. I'm going through 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals. Texas 23-21. I do think Mississippi State will score, even though Texas is really, really good on defense. And I know some people have circled the A&M game. A&M ran for 300 yards. Mississippi State didn't have the ball much in that game. And that was a road game. I mean, Mississippi State's been at home. They scored 24 against Arizona State and 34 against Tennessee. They're going to score the football. It's a good coach, good offensive players, good speed, good tight end, good backs. Their offensive line is what I'm watching in this game. I think that is why I like Texas in this game, because I do think the pass rush against the Mississippi State pass protection, they've given up 20 sacks, is going to allow for Texas to get Mississippi State behind the chains enough and put Blake Shapen in tough spots enough. And I like Mason Shipley to win it with a field goal.
What do you got, Rod B?
I think I'm going to go 20. I think I was at 20-14 Texas. I do think Mississippi State will be able to score because whether it be on a broken play or something like that, or the minute to put together a sustained drive, Blake Shapen just so comfortable in this offense. I think he'll be able to make some plays. I think the Texas offense is just going to shorten the game. I think that's going to be the goal ultimately for the Texas offense. I don't expect them to have a ton of explosive plays, but we shall see. I think, if they can generate those, that's an added bonus. I think the goal is going to be to maintain the football, to maintain possession of the football, and to extend drives. And I think ultimately they're going to do that by running the football inside, and they're going to do it by, I think, trying to establish the power gap schemes in the run game. So I'll go Texas 20-14.
Return of CJ Baxter is what you're talking about. Fingers crossed, right?
Yep.
All right, pour me in, Coach.
Yeah.
Before we get to the SEC game slate, I want to mention also all of us took Texas winning but not covering. Pour me in, Coach. Tito's Handmade Vodka is a proud sponsor of the Texas Longhorns, as well as On Texas Football, distilled and bottled by Fifth Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. Again, that's Tito's Handmade Vodka, proud sponsor of your Texas Longhorns. We appreciate them and their sponsorship of On Texas Football. It should be a great game. Make sure you have a little fun pregame and during the game if you need it with Tito's Handmade Vodka. All right, there are a number of games coming up in the SEC. Really more games in the SEC than there are nationally.
Yeah.
Frankly, I mean, the national slate looks really weak, and we're going to talk about that. OU plays A&M. OU plays Ole Miss at 11. That's the start this morning on ABC. Sooners somehow favored by 5.5. Anybody have a hot take on that game and can explain that line? Because I really can't.
Well, one of my thoughts with this game is, can the Ole Miss players block out the lane, the Florida noise?
The lane to Florida noise? Okay.
Because they hear it. You can't escape it. They're all wondering, is their coach leaving and going to Florida in a few weeks? Is that going to affect this team's play? I still like Ole Miss to win this game. I think Oklahoma in pass protection has issues. And I think Ole Miss, Suntarine Perkins is due to break out a little bit. I like Ole Miss to win this football game in Norman. And the Lane train may be headed to Florida, but the Venables train may be headed anywhere but Norman.
They win. Trinidad Chambliss is why they win. I agree with them. He's great under pressure. He's fantastic. And I would say the Oklahoma run game may be why it looked really good versus South Carolina, maybe why they're favored. They had their best rushing performance of the season, averaged over 5 yards per rush. So maybe that's why they think the running game is going to translate to this contest. But because Ole Miss can't stop the run. I mean, what did Georgia run for? 225 yards?
Yeah.
Something like that? That's the question.
Yeah. Georgia can enforce its will on just about anybody these days. They're tremendous right now.
By the way, if Venables loses this game, the next two are at Alabama and at Tennessee, and it will fire up the hot seat if he loses this one.
Yeah. I would just say this. I mean, Ole Miss did not play well in the fourth quarter against Georgia. There may be some because they came out, scored on first 5 possessions against Georgia, and then kind of laid an egg the rest of the way. I wonder if there could be a hangover effect in Norman. Yeah. I'm actually going to pick OU in this game. I thought I would go Ole Miss.
Okay.
I'm going to be a little bit different. The 11:45 game in the SEC is Auburn versus Arkansas, guys. Ooh. Now, this is the game that precedes Texas today on the SEC network. So it's 11:45. Auburn goes to Arkansas. I cannot believe this, but Arkansas, having already fired its coach, is favored over Auburn.
Yeah.
Because Arkansas has been scoring points and Auburn hasn't.
And Auburn's pass protection is terrible. I think they've allowed like 26, 27 sacks.
Most in the SEC.
Man, they're bad in pass pro. So that's the reason why. You're right. Arkansas's offense, I'm telling you, best player on a bad team is Taylor Green. I've been saying it all year long. It continues to be the case. If nobody's watching him, but man, he's lighting it up.
Yep.
Best news for Auburn is the certain ref crew in the SEC has been permanently banned.
Yeah.
Well, you got a chance
true.
this week, guys.
It's true. The Georgia Auburn referee crew is no longer.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. I'm taking Arkansas in it.
I am too.
We'll see how it goes. Bama, South Carolina, 2:30 ABC game. That's the one that follows Ole Miss OU. Bama favored by an 11.5. Do we even need to discuss this? Do we?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Bama.
I think Bama finds a way to
Yeah.
win by 2 scores easily.
Yeah.
I would take Bama in the points. Missouri goes to Vandy.
That's good.
At 2:30. The college game day is actually in Nashville, Tennessee. I can't believe that.
That's wild.
That's what Diego Pavia does for you, by the way. Vandy favored by 2.5 over Missouri. This is a top 15 ranked matchup. Vanderbilt and Missouri. The world has changed a little bit in the SEC. I'm going to go with Vandy here because I just think their quarterback is better than Missouri's quarterback. They're very similar. They both run well. They're good throwers, not amazing throwers. What are y'all's thoughts on Missouri versus Vandy? Can't even believe we're talking about them.
Go ahead, Rod.
Missouri can pressure the passer.
Yes.
They have 2 really good defensive ends and edges. They're second and third, by the way, in the SEC in pressures. Damon Wilson the second and Zion Young, and they're top 5 in the country in pressure rate. So if they can put enough pressure on Pavia to force him to make some mistakes, that is probably their best hope. But man, Pavia is clutch under pressure. So I'm gonna take Vandy because I think Vandy will make just enough plays. But can Vandy stop that running game from Missouri? That's their biggest question because Ahmad Hardy is one. It got to be the Doak Walker front runner at this point for the best running back in the country.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to do this because Vanderbilt's the home team and has momentum, and they have Pavia, and I can't believe I'm going to go against him. I'm actually going to take Missouri. I think Missouri played Alabama to the wire, and I know Auburn's got their offensive issues, but Auburn's defense is really good, especially their front. And that Missouri went on the road and won there in overtime. They've played 2 physical, bigger than they are teams the last 2 games out, and Missouri could have won both of those games. And I think Eli Drinkwitz is really good. I think, by the way, this is 2 really talented young minds in college football going at it from a coaching perspective. I can't believe I'm betting against Diego Pavia, but I am going to take Missouri in this game. I think that Missouri can really rush the passer and they can be disruptive. And I think they're going to run the football. And I think they're battle tested for this moment on the road.
Could be a big one because Texas obviously sees Vanderbilt next week.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Nighttime game. A&M, LSU, Aggies go to Death Valley, 6:30. 2.5 point favorite only for A&M. Based on what I've seen from LSU, I can't believe the Aggies aren't like a 10-point favorite. But I guess they're giving a lot of credence to this being at night in Baton Rouge because I can't see any other reason why A&M wouldn't be highly, highly favored in this game. I mean, look, they lit up Garrett Nussmeier last year. They're going to light him up again this year on blitzes. LSU's worse on offense this year than they were last year. They're only vaguely better on defense than they were last year. Aggies much better on offense. I just don't see. I think A&M is going to have a resounding victory in Baton Rouge. You guys have any thoughts?
So one of mine is I just wonder the loss of Le'Veon Moss, what that means moving forward. Is depending on how long he's out now, Cassius Howe on the defensive side, they are going to pressure. He has 8 sacks this year. Cassius Howe 8. It's a big number. But one thing I'll say for LSU defensively is, Rod, they may have the best chance from a corner standpoint to cover A&M. Their secondary is really good. And Mansour Delane's a stud. And P.J. Woodland and then the freshman DJ Pickett, they are really good in their back end.
Yep.
Now, Whit Weeks being out, I think, is a big deal for LSU. He didn't play last week either, assuming he is out today. I'm going to take A&M to win the game. I know understand why the line's where it is. I'm talking maybe a 3-6 point win for A&M. I just think they're playing with so much confidence right now.
Yeah,
Rod, you taking A&M or no?
I'm taking the Aggies, man. I think the Aggies edge defenders match up well with those tackles for LSU. The Aggies right now got an identity on offense, run game, and they got two of the best wide receivers in the country. Both of those guys look like top 25 wide receivers. I do like that secondary, though, revamped for LSU with a lot of those transfers. But, man, right now, the Aggies are rolling. Number 3. That's their highest pole position in like 50 years for the Aggies. I hate to say it. I'm a believer in the Aggies right now, but maybe they're not. Maybe that's why the line is what it is.
I love that fact because every time you're high on the Aggies, they have that fall.
They do.
I pick the Aggies, they automatically lose.
That's true.
I'm good with that, by the way. I'm good with that. Tennessee goes to Kentucky. We won't talk about that. The Volunteers 8.5-point favorites. They will pour it on Kentucky. Unlike Texas, Tennessee can score points.
Yes.
And that's the kryptonite of the Kentucky Wildcats, in my opinion. All right, thanks again. We got one national game we want to talk about. Before we do that, I want to share with what else we have going on today, if you don't mind. We've got the Texas Tailgate at 12 o'clock today, brought to you by our friends over at Hargrove. Then with the Watch with Us, 3:15. Jerry, you'll be part of that. So will Rod Babers, along with Aaron Hogan, Jeff Howe. Then the post game immediately following the game, brought to you by our folks over at Flight by Yingling. And, of course, today's Saturday conversation always brought to you by our friends at Tito's. Pour me in, Coach. Tito's Handmade Vodka is a proud sponsor of the Texas Longhorns, distilled and bottled by Fifth Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. And thank you to the fine folks at Tito's. All right, that one national game, we looked. This is a bad weekend of non-SEC football. There is no other two teams that are playing one another that are both ranked. Outside of the SEC, no two teams playing each other.
Wow.
So we picked this one. UCLA at Indiana. Indiana is a 25.5-point favorite. Okay. Yeah. That's how bad the matchups are this weekend. But we picked it because UCLA is on a 3-game win streak.
Remarkable.
Yes, very remarkable. Is this an opportunity maybe for UCLA to keep the magic going and be able to run the ball with Nico passing a little bit at quarterback? Or is it all fool's gold and Indiana's going to make it all come crashing down? Jerry, I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, look, I think this Indiana is so interesting in today's day and age of college football. It shows you how much coaching matters. It shows you how much confidence and belief matters. And it shows you how much portal quarterback evaluations matter. And by the way, Indiana's linebackers, their 3 linebackers have combined for 11 sacks this year. That's a big number. Their linebackers get after the passer. I like Indiana big. I like Indiana probably to cover this number. UCLA
25.5.
Yeah, I mean, they beat Illinois 63-10 at home. And I think this is a focused team. I think they went to Oregon, and all that Oregon talent had 20 points and 275 yards offense with all those portal offensive linemen and DeCorian Moore and all those fast guys. Indiana shut them down. Who am I to bet against Indiana against UCLA?
What do you think, Rod?
I think he's right. I'm a believer in Cignetti. Speaking of, he's the real deal. I think they got one of the best head coach quarterback duos in the country. That is a big number, and I love what UCLA is doing. It's a great story, but Indiana's the real deal. They're the real deal. So I'll take it.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Indiana to win, but I think UCLA is going to cover. They're playing a spirited brand of ball, and they're running the football using the quarterback.
Yeah,
that can negate a lot of good defenses, in my opinion.
Sure.
All right, we'll see what that means. If the Longhorns face a quarterback today that is not a runner, if that gives Texas a little bit more oomph on defense against Mississippi State as well, I think that could be a factor that maybe we didn't talk about enough in this Saturday conversation. However, that's going to do it for today's Saturday Convo. Again, we'll be back in just a couple of hours with the Texas tailgate, followed by Watch with Us for Gerry Hamilton, for Rod Babers, as well as our producer, Matt Hutchison. You guys have a great game day. Should be a lot of fun. Watching a lot of football today. Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em.